Now, if you have a son or daughter that's getting ready to go off to college, what's on your kitchen table? I can tell you what's going to be on your kitchen table, and that's a student loan debt, because it has climbed to an all-time high in this country of $1.2 trillion. It is the fastest growing form of consumer debt in this country.
I've talked to too many people who are paying 25% of their incomes in student debt, can't buy a car, can't buy a home, sometimes can't get married and have kids. In my mind, it makes no sense for people to be carrying interest rates on their student debt of 6 to 8 to 10% when they could refinance their homes at 2, 3, 4%.
As a student entering college in 2 years, one of my biggest priorities is how my family and I will pay for college tuition. I want presidential candidates in the upcoming election to address how tuition has raised and what the government can do to help students like myself.
Tuition is just one part of it. The fees at many schools are just as much as the tuition. Then you have housing, room and board, the cost of books. So there is a lot more to it than just the tuition. College in general has become more competitive. Trying to get scholarships has become more competitive.
Hundreds of thousands of bright, qualified young people who have the ability to go to college, who have the desire to go to college, cannot go to college for one simple reason: their family lacks the money.
My dad currently works 2 jobs to help pay for both mine and my sister's college tuition. If I didn't have him helping me out, I'd have to cut the hours I go to school in half, maybe work 2 jobs full-time to pay for tuition.
College tuition has risen past the rate of inflation. When my parents were in school, Harvard tuition was $9,876. Today, if I were to go to Harvard, I would pay $33,300 on tuition alone. So, how did the price of college tuition rise past inflation?
The cost of running a school, paying the professor. Some of it may be inflated somewhat, especially at those schools that are like $60,000 a year. But those are usually the private schools that don't get any state funding. With our public universities here in Oklahoma, funding has been cut, and so they have to make up for that funding somewhere, and that's where the increases in tuition and fees come.
Part of that is colleges are trying to be competitive in salaries. Another is that probably a lot of increases are tied to things that may exceed inflation themselves, particularly health care. And if you've seen healthcare costs generally exceed inflation, and each year colleges are trying to keep their employer contribution up.
There are some opportunities that can make the bills on your kitchen table a little bit more manageable. One has proven especially beneficial for the people of my community.
The Tulsa Achieves program is a financial aid program for students who are graduates of Tulsa County High Schools that covers the full cost of tuition and fees for a student for up to 3 years or 63 hours of college credit. Tulsa Achieves, I should have said also, is what's called a gap-funded program, meaning that students complete the FAFSA, the free application for student financial aid, and then any grants or scholarships they receive are credited toward their account, and then TCC pays the balance after federal grants and scholarships are put into place. Students incur no debt. There's no request that they take out loans to cover tuition and fees, because you can pretty much go to TCC debt-free for your first 2 years of a bachelor's degree program.
Similar to TCC, corporations such as Quick Trip Convenience Centers have created programs giving their qualifying employees financial aid to go to college.
The reason that Quick Trip helps our employees to get a college education is number one, it's good for them, and obviously it's good for us. The purpose of our company is to give our employees the opportunity to grow and succeed. And with that, we think that if a person furthers their college education, it will give them the opportunity to move up in the company. So it's really healthy for all of us.
Anybody who is currently attending can apply for their college tuition reimbursement plan, where depending on your GPA or how many hours you work, you can get up to $2,000, $2,500 in reimbursement to help pay for your college.
You work at Quick Trip, you make great grades, you know that your entire education could be paid for without any debt.
Even with programs created to help students pay for college, many students still cannot afford the tuition or pay off the loans. So as a student about to enter college, my question is it still worth it?
So last night, longtime nerdfighter Roxanne Punch posted this to her Tumblr. I keep going through college degrees and the jobs you could land with them, and I just keep going back to how overpriced it all is. Is it even worth it? That's a really interesting question, not just to prospective college students, but also to people in their mid-30s still paying off their college loans. So is it worth it? Well, let's say you spend $100,000 on college, including like $60,000 in student loans. With interest, you're going to pay about $80,000 total on those loans, so your total college cost will be $120,000. But let's just say that if you make $175,000 more than you would have made, then college was worth it. So how much in per hour earnings over your career does a college degree have to generate in order to be worth it? About $1.75. So over the course of your career, if you make $13 an hour on average when you would have otherwise made $11.25, college has paid for itself.
So we've seen the problem and we've seen some solutions, but here are what the 2016 candidates are saying.
That's why I've introduced legislation does two things. Number one, it says that all public colleges and universities in America must be tuition free, that the way you fund that program is through a tax on Wall Street speculation.
I filed a bill called Right to Know Before You Go with Senator Wyden. That means students will be told before they take out a loan, this is how much you can expect to make when you graduate with this degree from this institution.
As a student going to college, I want the candidates in the 2016 election to enhance the opportunities for a less expensive college education, create more opportunities for lesser off students, and inform students of the financial consequences after their time in college is over.